And good morning to you guys as well. Hope you are doing well. Trying to stay cool throughout this heat as it continues to build in more and more. We're not to the core of it yet, and the heat index has not been to record levels or anything like that. It's been to typical summertime stuff, right, that we're used to having. It's just that what really stands up for this one, several reasons. One, it gets a lot of media attention because of how many places across the country are influenced by this system. And secondly, this is getting a lot of attention because of the earliness of it, the intensity this early into the late spring, early summer season is unusual, and it can take a toll on people and on infrastructure. So that's the main reasons it gets a lot of attention. Now, once we get into the further specifics of this event, as far as daily high temperatures getting up there to record levels, now this is day and night, or the heat index gets up to levels we normally don't run into. Those are separate types of alerts that we're going to handle one by one that will likely impact you guys in terms of adjusting your plans for the day. That's when we get to the really bad stuff on intensity on the heat. All right. So right now we're just typical heat stuff that we're talking about. Still be careful. Take all your safety precautions in play. The prolonged exposure to this for days in and days out really is going to take a toll on us. But when we see a spike that goes one step higher than that, we'll let you know. Do you guys still hear the music, or is it just me? I say that and it stops. Isn't that weird? And then it starts back up again. I'm just going to move on. Maybe it'll go away. I don't know if you guys were hearing that or not. Maybe I'm just losing it today. All right. This is well, you can't see what I'm seeing. This is a live view right now in downtown Louisville from the Harbors in Jeffersonville, where you can see the overcast sky. Yeah, kind of gloomy, overcast type of setup so far. Not getting a ton of sun getting through this. Still enough sun energy. It's heating us up steadily this morning. So this doesn't mean we're not going to get into the 90s, but we will warm up steadily. So that's on its way. There could be a couple downpours and thunderstorms that try to form out of this. Right now, areas to the west are getting most of the action on the radar, but I can't rule out even in our area, we could see one or two little small, teeny tiny pop-ups. Right now, already warm start. Now, we did drop below 80 in Louisville. We were waiting to see which morning this week would be the one that would likely keep us from hitting below 80, because that's when you really get into the core of the summer heat, is when you just can't cool off at all. And Louisville got down to at least 77. We'll take it. We have a few more nights this week where 80 may be the bottom part of the number, and that's it. 81 is the current number, though, in E-Town. And the Bardstown, E-Town at 78. All right, so there's one heat advisory still out. This is from the Wilmington, Ohio office there, where they got the heat advisory out for Carroll County until Friday night. Okay, this is an extended period we're looking at. Could we see additional alerts come out for the rest of us? It's possible. Got to keep in mind, I remember that I said that this heat surge, if you will, is happening at a bit earlier in the season than is normal. And we're running to, hi, Myra. Why are you making that hand gesture at me? Why are you making that hand gesture at me?
I was making you a heart.
Oh, the heart one. Okay. That's what it was. Hi. How are you? Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
This is Myra. I don't get this.
This is Myra. Introduce.
This is Mrs. Myra. Sorry.
You're delirious.
I'm not delirious phase. You know, the no sleep phase part of it all. It took me a second. Oh, I miss you too. Thank you. She's so sweet. She does work here, right? I think she does. Okay. So heat advisories are going to be placed in areas where they are having more of impact that's unusual. It has been hot into the deep south and the Florida and Alabama, but they don't always have the heat advisories, right? It just is really about, the time of year, the exposure, the prolonged period, all that comes into factor. And each weather service office has their own rules on that. So that's why, Carrollton, you're included in the one from Wilmington, Ohio. Louisville is on the fence on this. Our criteria is a little stricter than what a northern client will have, but we're right there at it. Either way, same as like a weak tropical storm or a strong tropical storm and weak hurricane, you take the same precautions for both, right? Same with this kind of a setup when it comes to the heat. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, hopefully not in the direction of 2010. That was not always a good setup, right? We got heat index coming in right around, I would say 102. It's been an average that we may see for this one coming up. But it really will depends how much moisture ends up being in the air. 90 degree days. How many at 90 or higher? We're at 4 so far. That matches where we were at this point last year. Last year we ended up with 23. Hey, that's not bad, but it was a late season heat wave. The hottest the entire summer last year was 99, and we did that in the last week of August. There's that record year, though, of 55 days back in 2010. No, thank you. Let's move on. All right, this afternoon, we'll at least make it number 5 for the year. Going with 96. It's not a record, but not far from it. You can see the moisture is increasing to the west of us. So far, it's feeding more into Indiana. It's a very weak flow. The center of the high is actually just to our east. So most of the showers are just kind of following along a very weak stream. If you were to leave, say, the water hose on in your backyard, just barely trickling, and especially if it gets in your mud and it makes a little pathway through the mud, that little stream does from the water hose. That's the same thing that's happening here, is the moisture is finding a little pathway to go and kind of following the order there, follow the leader. So most of your axis of moisture is going to be found in that belt. There could still be one or two that could pop in advance of that or near it just because it's so close by. But to get anything much more than the baby stuff is going to be very, very tough. Mainly because we have some storm energy. All right, we're getting some yellows and golds, but we're not to the bright golds like we had in the March, April, May severe events. Some of that is certainly noted back into the upper Midwest, where they have the severe risk out today, have a front there, and also into areas of the upper Ohio Valley. All right, let's get to the tropics real quick. We're keeping an eye on 2 areas. One that still could move backwards after leaving for a while out of the Gulf Stream, wants to come back. Has a 30% chance of it doing that, getting closer to the Jacksonville area, Savannah, possible, be about in a week or so away for that happening. The one that already is basically there is now we can go past the percentage chances on it developing because it has developed, and it is a very sexy name, a potential tropical cyclone number 1. Now, majority of it is on the other side of the Yucatan Peninsula. It's in the Bay of Campeche. You can't really tell, but that's the center of it here, not here. But it's going to go a little more inland. On the eastern side, there is a chance another one could spin off from that. I mentioned that before. That's something that we'll watch for the last week of June. Already got at least tropical storm alerts that are out for southern areas of Texas around Corpus Christi, where it looks to be Alberto will be our first one of the season. For us, just a smattering of downpours again this afternoon. Most of you will stay dry. Heat index will be very close to the actual temperature, if not even a smidge below it. Tonight, same story, isolated showers around, then we'll try to pop up a few more in the afternoon. The core of the heat today is going to be in that purple. Purple is bad. Red is not great, pretty bad, right? Orange is like, a little uncomfortable. You get into the yellow and you notice the heat. So that's how the stages would go if you can't read the bar at the top. So purple is what we want to avoid. And for today, there's some purple up to the north of us, but we're not in it. Tomorrow, same storyline, mainly just a red indicator closer to us. But Indiana, Ohio, certainly into extreme. Then we get into Thursday. Now we're starting to see it really refocus and build more south. And this is where I think we get into those 99-degree temperature days here in Louisville. We'll be on Friday, perhaps on Saturday. And then Sunday, we're hoping a cold front will push the worst of that to the south. Remember, if you have a high temperature that is 99 to 100 with a lot of green ground, you have a decent heat index. That's where you can get into the dangerous levels in the heat index of 106 to 110. If the ground can dry out between now and, say, Friday and become a little more brown, because we're going to need some rainfall, obviously, we actually still keep the actual temperature up there. It could even go higher, 99 to 100, but the heat index, because there's less moisture being pumped out of the plants, will be a bit lower. Either way, it is hot. It can be dangerously hot for sure. And if we keep going at this rate of not getting much rain and intense temperatures of 95 plus on a daily basis, we will develop what we call a rapid onset drought, which is a flash drought scenario. It has happened a few times since I've been here. Last year we came close, but we ended up going into a general drought in general last fall after a wet spring. Well, it looks like this year, if everything holds, we may find ourselves in a much faster rate of getting to that drought. Again, this will be before we get to the 4th of July holiday. We may be talking about flipping the narrative again. So farmers are watching this outlook carefully to see how this plays out, because as I've said many times, I say this every year in the summer. I don't care if you have 15 inches of rain, 20 inches of rain, and flooding in the spring season. You get into the core of the summer and you're dealing with sunshine and 95 to 100 degree temperatures on a daily basis with very low humidity. All that you had in the spring is just wiped out, and you lose it all. It's like going into the casino and you lose it all in one swing there, turn of the wheel. And that's kind of how the weather can be sometimes. So you can give us so much and then it's all taken away and we end up in a drought. I hope that's not the case, but make sure you're ready for that. Conserve the energy you're using, especially in water and heating and cooling, and just especially on cooling, to make sure that you don't strain your systems, because if this is the way it's looking into July, we have a long way to go. All right. There you go. Not trying to be too much of a Debbie Downer. Rusty, how's the air quality? Asking for a friend with pneumonia. Well, first off, I hope your friend's okay and doing better. Secondly, air quality today actually isn't too bad. There's just enough steering up. But if you have pneumonia, air quality is going to be bad until I would say sometime in November. All right. We'll leave it at that, guys. I got to get ready for the show coming up here on midday. I will see you guys soon. I always do it. Hit the wrong button every time. And I will see you guys soon on the flip side. Try to stay cool out there. Take care of each other. Keep it on your cars. Make sure that tires are in good shape. Make sure you got all the coolant in the engine. You just never know.